Friends, it's me, Mirab, and I welcome you to Starspill USA. Get your coffee, get comfortable, because today we're diving into the moment we've all been waiting for. The day Meri Brown finally walks out of Kody Brown's life. And this time she's not doing it quietly. Not with that forced polite smile or a sad, I wish you well. No, besties, this time Meri is done playing nice. And the big question is, when she finally decides to leave for good, who really wins? Kody with his ego still floating high like a hot air balloon? Or Meri, who's finally learning to breathe without asking for permission? But before we dive into the heartbreak, we need to clear the air, because lately my DMs have been absolute chaos. People are sharing wild stories about how Kody sued Meri for defamation. And I'm just like, what? Besties, no. There's no lawsuit. No court date. No filing, nothing. It's completely made up. Another AI-fueled rumor that somehow spreads like wildfire. So let me remind you, if you see a thumbnail showing Kody's mugshot and bold red text saying, "Breaking! Kody in court," please breathe and scroll. It's fake. If his face looks slightly melted, that's not reality. That's bad AI. Now let's talk about what is real. The heartbreak, the confrontation, and the quiet revolution of Meri Brown finally walking away. Meri leaving Kody isn't just a breakup. It's a rebellion, a slow-motion uprising that's been brewing for over a decade. Because for years we've watched her shrink. Every time Kody sighed, she fell silent. Every time he rolled his eyes, she smiled through pain. Every conversation ended with him dismissing her. That fake smile, that patronizing tone, that buddy-buddy act that was just emotional cruelty in disguise. Her change didn't happen overnight. It began the moment she stopped seeking his validation. The second she realized that trying harder would never be enough. Because Kody didn't want partnership. He wanted obedience. And you can see it in his face in those later seasons. The confusion, the frustration, the "why aren't you chasing me anymore?" Energy. Spoiler, Kody and she's tired. Tired of being the emotional babysitter. Tired of being the scapegoat every time the family tension got heavy. Tired of holding on to a man who already checked out years ago. So when that final conversation happens under the harsh Arizona sun at one of those patio tables that have seen more tears than iced tea, it's quiet. Kody leans forward, fingers interlocked, rehearsed words ready. "I just don't feel safe with you emotionally," he says. The same line he's used for years, always to shift the blame. But this time, Meri doesn't flinch. She doesn't beg or cry. She just sits there silent, steady. And then, the shift. She breathes slowly, looks at him, and says softly, "You've said this before, Kody. I've believed it. But I don't think I do anymore." And right there, everything changes. The man who's always dictated the emotional pace suddenly loses control. He fidgets, laughs nervously, changes the subject. Because for the first time in years, Meri isn't shrinking. She's done. Now let's talk about what everyone loves to bring up, the catfish incident. Yes, Meri made mistakes. She admitted it. She owned it. But that situation wasn't about scandal. It was about loneliness. It was about being invisible. When you've been unseen and unheard for so long, you start to crave proof that you still exist. And that's what she was looking for, to feel real again. But Kody never forgave her. He weaponized it. Every time she tried to rebuild, he reminded her she'd betrayed him. He turned her guilt into his power. Because if he's always the victim, then she's always the villain. And villains in his world don't get redemption, they get blame. But when she said, "I don't think I believe it anymore," she wasn't just rejecting his speech. She was rejecting his control. And that, besties, is Kody's worst nightmare. Meri's calm now. Her posture changes. Her voice even and strong. Kody starts rambling about logistics, property, land, money, anything to distract from what's happening, that she's slipping away and he can't stop it. But she's not slipping away because she's weak. She's walking away because she's finally strong. And when word spreads through the Brown family, the reactions say it all. Christine hears it first. She's not shocked. You can imagine her on the phone, smiling quietly. "Good for her," she says. "It's about time." Because Christine knows, walking away from Kody isn't about divorce, it's about freedom. Janelle, pragmatic as ever, just nods. "I thought this was coming." But you can tell she's thinking about the fallout. The family chats, the awkward holidays, the chaos when Kody's ego takes another hit. And then there's Robyn. Oh, Robyn. Cue the tears, the shaky voice, the I just don't understand why everyone keeps leaving him." Her empathy always circles back to Kody. Always. But what she doesn't see is that Meri's departure breaks the illusion. Because now it's not just wives who gave up. It's the story of the husband no one could stay with. The adult children aren't surprised. They've seen everything, and the distance, the humiliation, the hope that never returned. They love their mom, but they're relieved. You can almost picture the messages. "Mom, I'm proud of you. Don't look back." And she doesn't, not this time. Meanwhile, Kody unravels in slow motion. He goes on camera talking about loyalty and betrayal, saying, "I gave everything to this family." But those of us watching know the truth. He gave silence where he should have given love. Control where he should have offered care. Then comes the family meeting. The air is thick with tension. Kody's pacing, Robyn's crying, Janelle's trying not to roll her eyes. Meri's making a huge mistake, Kody declares. She's letting bitterness guide her. And Christine just sighs. "No, Kody, she's choosing peace." That's the difference. And he doesn't get it, because he's never valued peace that didn't come from obedience. Here's the truth, besties. Every time one wife leaves, Kody loses a little more of the empire he built on control. And Meri's exit? That's the biggest crack yet. His version of the story, where he's the misunderstood patriarch, starts falling apart. The internet catches fire. Clips resurface. Edits of him interrupting, dismissing, mocking his wives flood TikTok. Hashtags trend, "I'd finally marry, I'd Kody collapse." And Kody can't handle it. He goes on interviews pretending not to care, but he can't stop saying her name. That's not indifference, that's loss. Meanwhile, Meri glows. She starts posting photos, laughing, traveling, launching new ventures. Her face looks lighter, her eyes softer. That's what peace looks like. And the irony? All the love and admiration she begged from Kody for years, she's finally getting from the world. But not because she stayed. Because she left. Kody can spin it however he wants. Talk about faith, modern women, betrayal. But nothing can change one truth. The woman he spent years belittling is finally thriving without him. And no speech, no patriarch monologue can rewrite that. So while Kody clings to the crumbling image of control, Meri has moved on to a reality filled with self-respect, independence, and quiet joy. Because sometimes the most powerful sound in the world is silence. She doesn't yell. She doesn't post cryptic quotes. She just walks away and gracefully, calmly, and that's what breaks him the most. Because people like Kody don't fear rejection. They fear indifference. And that's exactly what Meri gives him, the gift of being unbothered. Friends, this was the story of Meri Brown, the woman who once whispered her pain, now living her peace out loud. From invisible to invincible, she didn't just leave Kody. She left behind every piece of herself that had to beg to be seen. Sometimes strength doesn't look like shouting. It looks like standing up quietly and saying, "I'm done." And that's exactly what she did. For the first time, that silence wasn't empty. It was powerful. It wasn't about retreating. It was about reclaiming. You see, when Meri finally walked away, she didn't storm out, she didn't yell, she didn't even explain. She simply stopped speaking for everyone else's comfort and started speaking for herself. No cameras twisting her truth, no husband translating her emotions, no sister wives walking around her pain. Just Meri. And when she finally spoke freely, really freely, the world saw someone new. Her voice, once trembling under the weight of someone else's authority, now steady, calm, sure of itself. She no longer tries to convince anyone of her worth because she knows it. That's what happens when you stop asking for permission to exist. Meri starts sharing pieces of her life not through the lens of being the first wife, but as a woman rediscovering herself, her passions, her business, her travels, her friendships. She speaks about loneliness not as pity but as truth. About grief, not as weakness but as the cost of freedom. And that honesty, raw, unperformed, unpolished, draws people in. Because for the first time, she's not chasing a storyline. She's living one. And here's what's poetic. The very fans who once begged her to leave now rally around her like she's the phoenix who finally rose. Every post she makes about peace, growth, or healing is flooded with love. Thousands of hearts tapping like, not just for her, but for themselves. For every person who's ever stayed too long where they weren't valued. You can see the change in her, the glow in her smile, the ease in her eyes. She's free. Meanwhile, Kody Brown, the man who once controlled every narrative, is still spinning still justifying, still stuck in the same circle of excuses. Watching them now is like watching two planets break orbit, one rising higher, one burning out. This isn't just a breakup. It's a reversal of everything. For years, Kody held the power, the story, the voice. Meri was the one clinging, apologizing, waiting for crumbs of affection. But now, she's the one holding the pen, and she's not writing out of revenge. She's writing to heal. That's the kind of peace that hurts people who once thrived on control. How do you fight someone who has stopped fighting you? In a podcast, Meri says something that goes viral across the internet. You spend so many years trying to be what someone else needs, you forget who you are. And when you remember, it's like breathing for the first time. That one line becomes a movement. It gets clipped, quoted, turned into reels and TikToks, because it isn't just her story anymore. It's everyone's. Everyone who's ever balanced between loyalty and self-respect. Everyone who's ever begged for change that never came. The irony? For years, Kody called her selfish for wanting more. More love, more time, more care. And now everyone realizes she wasn't asking for too much. She was simply asking the wrong person. Her new chapter isn't drenched in bitterness. It's built on quiet rebuilding. Graceful, patient, grounded. And in that stillness, she finds what Kody's been chasing for decades: peace. When Meri finally closes that door, the shockwaves ripple through the entire Brown family. They all react differently, each revealing a piece of truth. Janelle, ever the practical one, doesn't flinch. She just nods and murmurs, "Good for her." It was time. That's Janelle, low drama, high wisdom. She's been there. She knows what it takes to walk away from a man who hides control behind faith. Christine's reaction is emotional, a mix of pride and sadness. Watching Meri leave reminds her of her own escape, her own heartbreak. In one interview, Christine tears up and says, "I know how hard it is to walk away when you've spent your life believing loyalty means staying, no matter how bad it gets." That's real sisterhood. Not the kind the cameras tried to sell us, but the kind built in shared pain and survival. And then there's Robyn, the last wife standing, the one who thought she won. But suddenly that favorite wife crown feels heavier. The castle is quieter, colder. You can see it and the fear behind her interviews. She says she's heartbroken, but what you really see is panic. Because what does it mean to be the only one left in a family that's fallen apart? Robyn's always found her identity in being the loyal one, the obedient one. But now even she can see, Kody's loyalty was never love. It was convenience. Their children stay quiet publicly, but little signs slip through. "Proud of you, Mom," one post says. "New beginnings," another. "No drama, just quiet support." Because they all see what we see, their mother's finally free. And the fans, they start piecing together what the show never dared to show clearly. That beneath the rivalries and reality TV edits, there was always empathy between the wives. They all knew what it was like to live under the same control, the same fear. And seeing one of them break that chain? That's not betrayal. That's hope. Meanwhile, Kody starts spiraling. Long defensive interviews. Rants about betrayal. Speeches about faith and family. But it's transparent now. He's not mourning Meri. He's mourning control. He's angry that the story isn't his anymore. The fans aren't buying it. Even the network's editing has changed. Fewer close-ups of him, more unfiltered shots of the wives, of his tantrums, his pride. For the first time, he's no longer the hero of the show. He's just the cautionary tale. He tries to blame editing, claims he's being made to look bad. But after 2 decades on camera, the truth is clear. The mask has slipped. And what remains is a man who can't understand why the world no longer sees him as the leader. He keeps preaching about God's plan, about being tested. But those words don't land anymore. They echo hollowly, because when every woman who's ever loved you walks away, not in rebellion, but in exhaustion, maybe the problem isn't them. Maybe it's you. The internet becomes a reckoning. Fans rewatch old clips, dissect every manipulative word, every moment of gaslighting. Comment sections fill with one repeated truth. Peace is more valuable than loyalty. And maybe that's what Meri was teaching all along. Because when she walks away, truly walks away, it's not just from a man. It's from a cycle, from a system built on silence. And in doing so, she becomes something bigger than just a former wife. She becomes a symbol of what it means to finally choose yourself, even when it costs everything. Meri Brown didn't just leave Kody. She left behind the version of herself that once thought love meant suffering. And the world, watching her step into peace, finally understood. Sometimes silence isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of freedom. It's the beginning of freedom. Sometimes the most powerful endings aren't loud. They don't come with fireworks or final showdowns. They come quietly, like the sound of a door closing, softly but firmly by someone who's finally done waiting. And that's how Meri Brown's story ends, not with a scream, but with peace. You see, people used to laugh at her pain. They used to roll their eyes when she cried on camera, when she hesitated to leave, when she said she still loved Kody. But now, they understand. They see themselves in her quiet suffering and in Christine's brave exit. And for the first time, people aren't laughing with Kody anymore. They're laughing at him. Clips of him flipping his hair, declaring, "I'm the head of this family," have turned into memes. Fans caption them, "Head of what exactly?" Even the headlines have changed. Once they called him the patriarch. Now they say, Kody Brown faces backlash as fans rally behind his wives. Because somewhere between his pride and their pain, the power flipped. For years, Kody believed he was writing the story, the central character in a grand moral tale about faith, unity, and love. But now, he's just a side character in someone else's redemption story. And the twist? The man who once bragged that he needed 4 wives to feel complete is now lonelier than ever. And the entire world is watching. When Meri walked away, Kody thought it would be like before. He'd dismiss it, reinterpret it, make it sound like her choice, and move on. He'd done it before. When Christine left, he called her ungrateful. When Janelle distanced herself, he said she was being emotional. But this time it's different. Because when the cameras go home and the lights fade, there's no one left to perform for. No one to guilt, no one to argue with, no one to manage. Just silence. And for a man who feeds on control, that silence is deafening. He thought he'd feel relief. Freedom, maybe? Instead, what he feels is absence. Of attention, of authority, of purpose. He calls Meri under the pretext of wrapping up property issues or unfinished business. But it's not about logistics. It's about relevance. You can hear it in his voice and that blend of frustration and yearning. He wants her to engage. But she doesn't. She's polite, calm, brief, but distant. Not cold, just done. And that drives him mad. Because Kody thrives in chaos. The tears, the guilt, the emotional tug of war. That's where he feels powerful. But how do you manipulate someone who's stopped caring? You can't, and that's what terrifies him. He even tries to use Robyn as his audience, the last person still orbiting his gravity. But even she is exhausted. The more she defends him, the worse the backlash gets. Fans flood her comments with pity and frustration. "Wake up, Robyn. He's not worth it." Even her loyalty looks fragile now, stretched thin between love and denial. So when producers ask Kody if he's spoken to Meri, he tries to laugh it off. "No, I'm giving her space," he says with a smirk. But it's not her space that haunts him. It's her peace. Because he knows she found it without him. And that's what he can't stand. Meanwhile, Meri's world is blooming. She's doing the one thing he never thought she could, thriving. She's running her business with confidence, posting live sessions full of laughter and warmth. Her voice is lighter now, her smile unguarded. The same tabloids that once chronicled her heartbreak now celebrate her rebirth. Headlines read, "Meri Brown finds freedom after heartbreak." Fans say Meri's stronger than ever without Kody. And Kody hates it. He hates seeing her name beside words like freedom, strength, and happiness. Because for years, he was the hero in his own tale, the leader, the husband, the savior. But now, he's realizing the truth. Maybe he wasn't the hero after all. Maybe in everyone else's story, he was the villain. That's what happens when the people you've been directing suddenly stop reading from your script. The whole story collapses. So while Kody wrestles with his fading relevance, Meri is quietly writing her new chapter. One smile, one sunrise, one post at a time. He thought she'd fade away. She didn't. She glowed. Because here's the thing about quiet people. When they finally speak, the world listens. When Meri walked away, fans didn't just move on. They rallied. They followed her lives, her messages, her journey. They didn't see a victim anymore. They saw a survivor. A woman who endured, evolved, and emerged radiant. And the internet began apologizing to her. The same viewers who once rolled their eyes now admitted they misunderstood her. We didn't realize what she was going through. She wasn't weak, she was stuck. Meri didn't need to clap back or expose anyone. She didn't even need revenge. Her consistency became her statement. Her peace became her proof. In one viral moment, she said softly but firmly, "You can't make someone value you. You can only value yourself enough to leave." That one line traveled the world. TikToks, podcasts, Instagram captions. Even people who'd never seen Sister Wives felt it. Because that's not a reality show quote, that's a life lesson. And when the show returned, producers couldn't frame her as the broken one anymore. They couldn't, because she didn't look broken. She looked free. Her laugh was real. Her shoulders relaxed. Her eyes finally mirrored her soul, peaceful. Fans noticed everything. Her confidence, her glow, her calm. They weren't buying her products. They were buying into her healing. And the irony? She never needed to tear Kody down to rise. Her silence was her crown. While he kept defending himself on camera, desperate to set the record straight, Meri didn't bother. Because she already owned the narrative by simply existing in peace. The world loves a redemption story. But what makes hers different is that she didn't chase one. She just stopped running from herself. By the time filming began for the next season, everything had changed. No more pity. No more, why doesn't she just leave? Now the question is, what will Meri do next? That's real transformation. When people stop seeing you as a victim and start seeing you as a force. Because Meri didn't have to destroy anyone to win. She just had to outgrow them. And while Kody still talks about loyalty and obedience, his words sound empty now. Echoes of a past that doesn't fit the present. His leadership feels small. His voice defensive. His legacy cracked. Meri, on the other hand, doesn't talk about power anymore. She lives it. Her victory isn't loud. It's quiet. It's peace. Because true power isn't revenge. It's release. When she left, she didn't slam the door. She just closed it gently, with grace. And then she opened another. One that led to laughter, calm, and purpose. She's no longer the woman waiting for someone to change. She's the woman who changed for herself. And when you look at her now, calm, radiant, unapologetic, you can't help but think, this is what freedom looks like. Kody may still be talking, still clinging to the story he once controlled. But it's over. Because she didn't just walk away from a marriage, she walked away from a lifetime of smallness. She broke a cycle. No more waiting, no more apologies. No more folding herself to fit someone else's comfort. Just Meri, whole, steady, free. And that's something the cameras can never truly capture. That quiet kind of peace that comes not when you win, but when you finally stop trying to. So if we're keeping score, Kody lost control. Meri found herself. And that, my friends, isn't even a contest. That's growth. That's peace. That's the real ending. That's the real ending.